Chapter 8, Reunions. Neji was kneeling in the main branch's sunken garden, waiting to meet with Lord Hiyashi. He was cursing himself for not being able to duplicate his cousin's progress. Hinata has clearly surpassed me. At least I can still beat Rock Lee. He had parted ways with his childhood friend earlier, having advised him that he had family matters to attend to. Lord Hiyashi silently walks up from behind. So have you been able to duplicate Hinata's feat? He asks abruptly, curtailing the polite formalities. I failed. Neji bows his head in shame. These were not words he was used to. I spent all morning staring at Naruto and could not see any sign of his chakra circulatory system. Neji stops short of mentioning the embarrassing fact that he actually asking Naruto to take his shirt off. Hiyashi dips his head in thought. You can go, Neji. Pacing back and forth, Hiyashi decides that he must seek an answer to this riddle. Short of abducting the boy, he realizes he has only one option. Tsunade sits at her desk going through the myriad of the day's paperwork, so many missions, so few ninja. She was just glad that Kakashi had made a full recovery and had decided that he and Yamato would train the boy further. I wonder what he has in mind? Having trouble restraining her curiosity, she hears a knock on the door. Come in. She demands rather angrily. The figure opens the door and walks inside. Lord Hiyashi, what an unexpected surprise, what do you want? Tsunade asks, wanting to get this over and done with. Lord Hiyashi dips his head in formal acknowledgement and asks gracefully, I wish to employ the services of Naruto Uzumaki. Tsunade drops her pen and looks up. Hiyashi had definitely got her attention. He is unavailable. What services do you require? Perhaps I can give you someone else. Lord Hiyashi had not wished to divulge too much information. It must be him. Naruto and Hinata had finally been left alone. Her victory over her cousin Neji was a huge milestone. It had proven all her hard work had been worthwhile. If only he could say the same about himself. He was no closer to finding the solution to accessing his strength or his speed. The initiation was simply innate, and beyond his control. He glances to the quiet Hinata, who had been sitting next to him silently for some time now. She was smiling and shyly avoiding eye contact. Ever since they had seriously started training, she had stopped using her sexy jutsu. Naruto was in two minds whether that was a good thing, for on one hand he was losing sleep and had trouble focusing. Cold showers had definitely become the norm for a while. On the other hand, he had missed seeing Hinata in her rather revealing, tight-fitting clothing. Hey Hinata-chan? Naruto asks. Hinata looks at Naruto, taking note of his usual outfit. His orange pants were slightly too short and his orange and black colored jacket was zipped to the neck. She was a little disappointed at the coverage. Having got her attention, Naruto continues, we should celebrate. What for? Hinata asks unknowingly. Naruto laughs, your victory of course. It won't be long before everyone knows what happened.
Naruto blushes a little and scratches his head, it will be like a date.
Inner Hinata nods, told you so. Now get over there and rip all his clothes off. Hinata had become very woozy and was beginning to sway from side to side. Naruto was becoming used to Hinata's unusual dizzy spells. He crawls over to her and holds her upright. In the back of his mind he wonders if what he was doing was classified as stupid. You don't have to if you don't want to. Naruto says, a little saddened. Perhaps she doesn't want to be seen with me, I can't blame her for that. I would love to. Hinata responds tenderly, I have been waiting for you to ask me for what seems a lifetime, Naruto-kun. Ahem. Kakashi coughs, leaning over them. Hinata and Naruto both scream in fright, arg. Naruto, with his fist clenched in fury, jumps up, Kakashi-sensei, you could have at least knocked. Kakashi looks around for the seemingly visible door. Hinata was looking guilty, like she was caught red-handed with her hand caught in the cookie jar. Okay, it's time to train. Hinata, you are welcome to stay. Author's note, the following is a modified extract from manga 311 to 316. He. Naruto responds awkwardly as he gets up and faces his sensei. With both hands in his pockets, Kakashi senses something is amiss. What is it now? No, it's nothing. Naruto answers. He had been looking forward to this training ever since meeting up with Kakashi in the hospital. Just like I said back at the hospital, we're going to be training to have you develop an ultimate ninjutsu to call your own. A jutsu superior to even Rasengan. To do that you will need to have command of 2 chakra control techniques, physical and spatial recomposition. Kakashi holds up 2 fingers for visual effect. Physical and special, recomposition? Naruto looks on, already lost. Kakashi begins his Chidori. Exactly, take Chidori. You physically reconstitute your chakra to resemble electricity. Then you spatially recompose it to discharge, thus determining the strength and scope of the attack. Naruto looks on. In that sense you could say that, unlike Chidori, Rasengan is a jutsu relying only on extremely advanced spatial recomposition since the jutsu compresses chakra by spinning it at violently high speeds. It doesn't have any need for physical recomposition. Naruto nods, pretending to understand. Physical recomposition. I see. Physical recomposition will be an absolute necessity for you to acquire a jutsu surpassing Rasengan. Naruto was practically bursting with excitement. Makes sense to me. Alright. Time for physical recomposition. Hinata, however, although following, wasn't sure where Kakashi was heading with this. She pulls her knees up to her chin and listens intently. But acquiring that technique takes an enormous amount of time. I was just about to explain how we're going to greatly reduce that time penalty back at the hospital. Kakashi pauses for dramatic effect. We are going to use the shadow clone technique. Although I can't produce as many shadow clones as you, I can use the shadow clone jutsu as well, so I know the effect it has on the user. What is it? Naruto asks unknowingly. Hinata was completely lost now. Kakashi was a little surprised. So you haven't noticed yet, eh? When you release the jutsu, an experience and knowledge gained by the clones will transfer back to the original body. Naruto scratches his head in thought. Yeah, I guess I just never really thought anything of it. Kakashi continues, obviously, this attribute makes shadow clones ideal for recon missions, observing an enemy's camp, infiltration and information gathering. Right, but what does that have to do with speeding up my training? Naruto asks. Hinata giggles for she now understood, but she keeps her silence. Best to let Naruto-kun figure it out. Kakashi sighs wondering how Jiraiya-sama had taught this kid a jutsu like the Rasengan. I'll guess I'll have to explain that too. Come on, Naruto shouts impatiently. If two of your clones go through the exact same training, then you end up getting twice the benefit from it. To put it another way, if you have two clones doing the same training, you accomplish the same amount in half the time, and with three, in a third. Naruto's eyes widen in sudden realization. Hinata smiles. It's about time. I wonder just how many Naruto-kun can make. I have seen him do 5. Kakashi continues, and with 1,000, in 1,000th. Now I get it. With 1,000 clones, something that would normally take 20 years, would take a week. Kakashi adds for Naruto's benefit. Hinata wonders absent-mindedly, why does Kakashi keep mentioning thousands? Big numbers will only confuse Naruto-kun. Naruto screams, aha! Now I get it. Kakashi smiles, we're going to start work on chakra nature manipulation. While we train you're to have at least 1,000 clones working with you at all times. Hinata's ears twitch, I must be hearing things. So this is why you're so strong, Kakashi-sensei. You've been training like this all your life, huh? Naruto asks. Kakashi answers, actually, I have never trained like this once. Naruto is puzzled, huh? Why? You can do shadow clones too. Like I said, I don't have your stamina or your level of chakra, so I can't maintain the jutsu for that long. Since it splits the chakra evenly among the clones, ninja with low chakra capacities, like me, can't use it to its full potential. Naruto asks bewildered, huh? Really? So I have more chakra than you? You have at least twice as much. Kakashi answers, but he wasn't entirely sure of the depths of Naruto's own chakra. For real, man, I'm awesome. And if Yamato doesn't suppress the Nine Tails chakra, it could be 100 times more. Kakashi says with added emphasis, forgetting Hinata was there. Oh shit. Naruto and Hinata look on aghast. She stares at Naruto with complete and utter shock. 100 times? What's a Nine Tails? Kakashi quickly continues, that's why you're the only one who can handle this kind of training, Naruto. Captain Yamato, joining the little gathering, then interrupts, Kakashi-san asked me to help out with your training. He sees Hinata sitting there and coughs, you'll need me to help suppress your, more latent chakra. Thanks a bunch. Naruto says, genuinely grateful for the assistance, oblivious to the secret that Kakashi had let slip. Kakashi starts with a basic introduction. Let's get started with the chakra nature manipulation training. There are 5 basic chakra used for jutsu. Fire, wind, water, lightning and earth. These 5 elements are the foundation of all jutsu, and the reason the 5 great countries are named as they are. Yamato then adds, most people's chakra naturally leans towards a certain nature. The Uchiha clan, for example, were full of people with an affinity to fire, thus, they were exceptionally skilled with fire element jutsu. Kakashi continues, those matched with wind, are good with wind element jutsu, lightning with lightning element. Chidori is a lightning element jutsu, for example. Naruto interrupts, so Sasuke is matched with both fire and lightning then? Kakashi ignores the question as the answer was obvious, you on the other hand are a zero. Hinata pipes up defending her man, he most certainly is not a zero. Inner Hinata activates her Byakugan and takes up her fighting stance, ready to attack at a moment's notice. Kakashi smiles behind his mask and ignores her outburst, we have no idea which nature your chakra leans towards, Naruto. Kakashi rummages through his back pocket and pulls out some cards, so we're going to check with these cards. The card Kakashi was holding between his 2 fingers suddenly crumples. If you're lightning natured, the paper gets crumpled. Wind nature, it gets cut in half. Fire, it burns. Water, it gets wet. Earth, it turns to dust. It's a unique paper that reacts to even the slightest amount of chakra. Kakashi hands a piece to Naruto, channel some of your chakra into it and we'll know its nature immediately. Okay. Naruto stares at the card intently, but closes his eyes and channels some chakra. Ha! Naruto stands there holding a card that has been split in 2. Hinata, now much more relaxed, claps gleefully. Inner Hinata, with a piece of paper of her own, turns so no one can look and tears it in 2 with her bare hands. She then turns around and shows everyone, me and Naruto-kun are destined to be together. Believe it. Wind nature manipulation training it is. Well then, shall we begin? Kakashi asks. In this training, you're going to place a leaf between your palms and try to cut it with only your chakra, until you manage to cut it in half. Naruto with a look of determination shouts, right, I am on it. How many shadow clones should I make? Well, since it's 1 leaf for each person, Kakashi raises his finger and points to an extremely leafy tree, about this many? Hinata looks on baffled. Naruto makes the relevant hand signs, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Suddenly thousands of Narutos surround the overwhelmed Hinata.
Thousands of Naruto-kuns, I can't sense, where is?
The real one, can't take it. Suddenly, the blood rushes from Hinata's head and she collapses. Kakashi, Yamato and all the Narutos turn in her direction. The clones at the back, jumping over one another to get a better look at the commotion. The Naruto closest to Hinata lessens everyone's concern, don't worry, this happens all the time. She'll be okay. One of the Naruto clones picks her up, I'll take her home. Naruto's unbelievable training begins. So let me get this straight, you want ALL Hyuga clan members to be able to observe Naruto to determine if they can see his chakra flow? And there will be absolutely no physical activity of any kind? Tsunade asks clearly from behind her desk. Sitting in a chair opposite the 5th Hokage, Hiyashi nods in consent. Tsunade continues, but of the clan members which do see a flow, you wish to return to renegotiate further terms? Hiyashi replies simply, that is correct. Tsunade responds with her conditions, to ensure this doesn't interrupt with the boy's training, you shall only have access to him after Kakashi's finished for a minimum period of 1 hour. You shall finish up when the boy has had enough. She pauses to ensure Hiyashi understands. Then it is agreed. Suddenly the doors to Tsunade's office are blown off their hinges. Hiyashi and Tsunade, waiting for the dust to settle, peer to have a look at the intruder. Standing there, with a foot in the air, looking as they returning from fighting an entire army single-handed, was Sakura. The exposed flesh of her arms and legs were gashed with open wounds and bleeding profusely, and her clothing was covered in dried-up blood. Her hair too was in complete disarray, she looked as though she had been through a vicious spin cycle. And from the deep breaths she was taking, she was completely exhausted. The big saggy black bags under her eyes were a clear sign of sleep deprivation. But that wasn't the only surprise. In each hand, she was holding her 2 teammates by the scruff of their necks. Placing her foot back down, she staggers inside the office, mission complete. Sakura loosens her grip on her traveling companions and they land with a large thud. Tsunade stands, what's wrong with them? Sakura leans over and places her hands on each of her knees trying to catch her breath. They are fine, they are, just, asleep. Sakura responds through ragged breaths. Tsunade, accepting her answer, calmly sits down, I wasn't expecting you for at least another week. Now I am, off to see, someone, Sakura responds distracted, ignoring Tsunade's hidden compliment. She looks in the direction of Naruto's house. I am just hoping, he hasn't done anything stupid. With her breathing now becoming a little steadier, she spits in her hands and attempts to flatten her hair. That should do it, as pretty as ever. Tsunade, hoping to make it up to her typically assiduous student, smiles inwardly and says, actually I have another mission for you. Sakura glances at her sensei with pure hatred. Even Hiyashi had to avoid eye contact for fear of being caught in it. Tsunade continues, Lord Hiyashi has requested the services of Naruto. Mention of Naruto's name had sparked Sakura's interest. Tsunade continues, after he completes his training with Kakashi each night, you shall behave as Naruto's minder to ensure that neither he nor the members of the Hyuga clan engage in any physical activity, and you shall remain his minder until all Hyuga clan members have had a chance to observe Naruto. Hiyashi thinks inwardly, having a medical ninja close by may be very helpful. Tsunade speaks to the both of them, though to be honest, I see this whole exercise a complete waste of time. The Byakugan will not be able to see Naruto's chakra flow. Tsunade dismisses the both of them. Standing to leave, Hiyashi responds with a smile, well, I wouldn't say that. Before exiting, with his back to Tsunade, he stops and finishes, my eldest daughter, Hinata, can see it after all. Tsunade looks up, hiding her shock, Hinata can see the boy's chakra system? Impossible. I will have to look into this. After Hiyashi had disappeared from sight, she continues her thoughts aloud, it can't be. Hinata, can see? Absurd. Tsunade looks up to notice Sakura still standing there, I thought I dismissed you. It wasn't that Naruto's success in training Hinata was the shock, it was the fact that he probably had spent the past 2 weeks alone with her and her alone. Sakura felt as though she was going to notice Sakura's lower lip trembling. The addition of her sniffling was a clear indication that the waterworks were about to start. She had to cheer her up before her sobbing turned into an avalanche, and quickly. I want you to find Naruto and tell him of this mission. He should be with Kakashi. But first, if I were you, I would hurry home and clean myself up. Tsunade says authoritatively. I. Sakura responds, wiping her sniffles away with her sleeve and trying to stifle her sobs. Hinata already had her undersized G-string and lace bra laid out, ready for tonight's date with Naruto. They had already proven very effective. She giggles shyly. With Naruto training with Kakashi, Hinata knew that tonight may be her last chance to spend some quality time with him. But what was more important was that finally people would see them together. Inner Hinata screams in delight, and we're going to rip his clothes off and do him right there for all to see. Then everyone will know he is ours. Inner Hinata then bars her teeth and growls, trying to ward off anyone who would think otherwise. Hinata had came to on the return trip home, but being over Naruto's shoulder with his hand on her tush was actually quite nice, so she continued to feign unconsciousness. Upon reaching her doorstep, and observing his reluctance to knock on the front door, she had eventually ceased the facade. Upon asking Naruto where they were going tonight, he had scratched his head in thought and asked Hinata if she had any favorite places to eat. All the places he had in mind were rather simple, with the more upmarket dining places typically refusing him entry. Hinata too then mirrored Naruto and started scratching her head. Eventually a place sprung to mind. It was a relatively cozy place, the food was excellent and reasonably priced, and her Hyuga name carried a little weight. Naruto had heard of the place and whilst rummaging through his froggy purse, asked whether what he was wearing would suffice. Hinata had laughed, for she was worried about that as well. She had absolutely nothing. She had shaken her head and said the place was a little fancy. Naruto had laughingly agreed to the location, throwing his caution to the wind. When they had settled on a time and Naruto had released his jutsu, she had quickly gone shopping. A sales lady had talked her into purchasing a soft orange summer dress. It was Naruto's favorite color and was very different to her usually drab coloring. She had to admit, however, that it was very pretty, and showed off all the parts Naruto liked. It was rather snug around her bum and the hem was jagged, with various cuts going all the way up to her hip. The upper section was very open too, leaving her shoulders bare, and her cleavage exposed. Biting her nails, she delicately places the newly acquired dress on the bed. Hinata wasn't used to wearing dresses and she knew she would have to be careful, but not too careful so as to look uncomfortable. To finish off, she selects some simple open-toed stilettos with a medium heel to give her some additional height, and to give her hips more of a sway. Hinata swoons as she imagines Naruto's reaction. Although Naruto was the only thing on her mind for the last few weeks, the first thing Sakura did when she got home was to collapse on her bed. Her body was simply too stressed and too exhausted to continue, for she had been unable to sleep for the entirety of the mission. And with her two very lazy and two very cautious teammates, she practically had to do the mission completely by herself, or they would never have got back home. Later that night, she had awoken in a slight panic, for she hadn't intended on sleeping. She decided to have a quick shower, and then she would attend to her wounds. They were numerous but simple to repair. She quickly put on her usual attire, though she ensured every piece was already clean and well ironed. Stepping out the front door, she checks the time, 9 p.m., it's rather late. At around this time, Naruto was only at one of two places, his apartment or the old man's ramen shop. She leaps off to check the former first. Inner Sakura shouts with dismay, "If he is with Hinata, I will rip his penis off, stuff it full of explosive tags and shove it up his own arse." After a few hours of checking the usual places, Sakura begins to scratch her head in confusion. Where could he be? With her mind elsewhere, she aimlessly walks the streets of Konoha and eventually finds herself walking down a long cobbled alleyway, situated behind some restaurants. She notices some figures in the foreground, peering around the corner. Sakura squints. Is that? She couldn't believe it. Shino, Kiba, Shikamaru, Kuji, Ino, Rock Lee, Neji and Tenten were all there. They were obviously watching something, with the exception of Neji, who seemed to be making a concerted effort to look in the opposite direction. "Hey guys!" Sakura shouts, "What are you looking at?" Ino beckons for her to come closer and to keep her voice down. "Shh! Come and have a look," Ino whispers. Sakura joins the group and, shuffling in between Shikamaru and Ino, peers around the corner. Sitting there in the middle of a restaurant, all by his lonesome, was Naruto. The people around him were watching him warily. "Finally! I have been looking for him everywhere," Sakura says offhandedly, and bustles her way through the group to make her way inside. "Naru!" Sakura shouts. Ino grabs her by the collar and pulls her back behind the cover of the wall. Wait. Sakura grabs her throat, gasping for air. She then hides like the remainder of her friends and waits for whatever it was they were waiting for. Sakura was about to give up this childish game when she saw Hinata approaching Naruto's table. Inner Sakura comments without giving it much thought, "Wow, she looks pretty, wait a minute." Hinata then takes a seat next to Naruto. Inner Sakura was bursting, "Wait a goddamn minute." Sakura leans forward, placing her hand over Shikamaru's face for support. As though leaning forward would make what she was seeing go away. Without anyone noticing, Hinata had taken off her stiletto and was rubbing the inside of Naruto's leg, and her foot was going higher. Not being able to maintain his silence, Kiba shouts, "Oh my god, Naruto is so lucky, who would have thought Hinata could look so hot?" Shikamaru shakes his head in disappointment, "Women are troublesome." Though his smile said something entirely different. Kuji was stuffing showing food in his mouth much faster, his face looking like it was going to explode. Ino blushes a little. Where did Hinata learn that? Inner Sakura was jumping up and down with her little fists clenched, throwing a childlike tantrum, damn it, damn it, damn it. Sakura had mirrored her inner self to perfection, damn it, damn it, damn it. Her loud and sudden outburst had caused the group to turn their attention to her. Their puzzled looks were not enough to stop Sakura from throwing her hysterical hissy fit. It suddenly dawned upon Ino why Sakura had been so distraught only a few weeks ago. Oh. This means war. Sakura's jealousy and her feelings for Naruto were no longer a secret, as she starts rifling through her bag looking for explosive tags. Shikamaru's smile had disappeared, replaced with downright concern for his friend Naruto. So much trouble. Chapter 9, The Date. Sakura was bristling with rage. Blue chakra was crackling around her as if she too knew Sasuke's Chidori Nagashi jutsu. The heat emanating from her body was also intense. It was like she was going to self-combust. Shikamaru, not wanting to break the eerie silence, attempts to silently gulp down the saliva collecting in his throat. But it wasn't quiet enough. Sakura turns her heated gaze upon him. Shikamaru nearly wets his pants as he curses himself. "Holy shit, don't look directly at her, you idiot, stare at the ground, stare at the ground." Sakura screams, "All of you, get out of here." Her eyes were that of a woman out of control. The group turns to run. Sakura grabs Ino. "Not you, Ino, you get to stay with me." Sakura made it sound like a good thing. With everyone gone, Ino faces her distraught friend. Sakura's chakra was ripping great big gashes out of the cobblestone path and nearby walls. Sakura, with her eyes ablaze with utter fury, asks calmly, Can you use your mind transfer jutsu against Naruto from here? Ino nods reluctantly, not saying a word. Sakura continues, I want you to use it, and when you're in that idiot's head, I want you to tell Hinata that she is an ugly pig dog, that her dress makes her look like a slut. And that you never want to see her again. It doesn't have to be in that particular order, but I think you get my drift. I want you to snap her heart in two. Sakura pauses and her face turns grief-stricken. He's mine, Ino, he's mine. Sakura starts to cry. How come it hurts so much? Please, make it stop, make it stop. She holds her hands over her heart, indicating where her heart was breaking. Ino begins to tear up at seeing her friend in so much pain. Okay Sakura, okay. Ino thinks, perhaps I can just get Naruto to end the date early, it will give Sakura a chance to come to her senses. Sakura nods grateful for her friend's assistance. Ino concentrates on Naruto, mind transfer jutsu. Sakura was so grateful. She stifles her sobbing and begins to watch Naruto and Hinata. They looked as though they were having such a good time. Sakura wished that she was in Hinata's place. That could be my foot. Suddenly, Ino starts to scream and holds her head in pain. Ino? Sakura pleads. Ino falls to the ground and convulses in the fetal position. Her screams were like chalk on a blackboard. Sakura attempts to calm her, but her screaming was simply getting louder and louder. Ino starts to claw at her eyes, trying to scratch them out. Her fingernails were leaving severe gashes down each side of her face. Sakura focuses chakra around her hands and frantically begins to search her body for the cause of her pain, but she couldn't find anything. Suddenly, silence. Sakura takes a deep calming breath thinking everything must be all right and looks to Ino. The blood immediately drains from her face and she turns ashen white. Ino was still screaming, her voice had simply run completely hoarse. Sakura starts crying due to the mortifying sight, unsure of what to do with her trembling hands. Sakura begs, Ino, please be alright. Something isn't right. Ino says from inside Naruto's mind. Suddenly she is caught in a wave of immense emotional pain. She screams out in agony at the onslaught. Naruto's memories crash through her. No, Ino screams in a crazed frenzy, pulling out her hair to distract her mind from the barrage she was taking from Naruto's subconscious. Her nose and her eyes begin streaming blood. She tries to release the jutsu, but the pain hinders her from thinking straight. She was trapped. Through the endless onslaught of mind-numbing pain, she starts scratching her arm. It's so itchy. She scratches her arm so much, the skin begins to peel away. Her whole body begins to feel as though it were on fire. She looks down at her legs, her torso, her skin was bubbling from beneath the surface. She falls to her knees and shrieks with the absolute agony. Her skin begins to burst and blister, large sheets simply tear off and evaporate. Blood oozes from the wounds. The Kyuubi's voice suddenly echoes around her, ha! 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 Its laughter sounded like distant thunder, shaking the ground around her. You have not the ability to withstand my presence, human. Your death shall be painful, I will enjoy it. The Kyuubi's voice dripped with malice, evil emanating from its very depths. Ino screams in maniacal defiance, and tries to rip off her own ears, unable to withstand the deafening power of the Kyuubi's voice. Naruto appears before her and begins to envelop her in his arms, hugging her in his protective embrace. Leave now, Ino. He whispers softly. Ino, through her panic, manages to focus and releases the jutsu. She finds herself back in her body, lying on the ground. Her voice was screaming, but she heard nothing. Through blood-stained eyes, the image of Sakura suddenly comes into focus. She was kneeling next to her. Sakura's tears were falling upon her body, her hands were covered in a brilliant blue hue. Ino's eyes close over as she loses consciousness. Thank you, Naruto. Sakura whispers to no one but herself, what have I done? Before they had met up, Naruto was in a bit of a panic as he wasn't sure what to wear. Having thrown nearly everything he owned onto his apartment floor, he ended up settling on a similar outfit he had worn to the third Hokage's funeral. I hope Hinata-chan likes this? It was a simple black-colored pant and jacket combination, but underneath he was wearing a white-colored shirt. It was relatively simple but elegant. The pants themselves were a bit tight, but that couldn't be helped now. Upon seeing Hinata, his face instantly lit up. She looked absolutely stunning. She was wearing a beautiful orange summer dress. It came down to her knee and it had a rather splits everywhere, some of which seemed to go all the way up to her hip. The breeze, although hardly noticeable, was strong enough to lift various sections, and expose some, if not all, of her leg. His body had started shaking in nervousness with her near proximity, And he was lost for words. If anything, he muttered some kind of baby talk. Upon staring at each other for what seemed like the longest of time, Hinata decided to say something first. Shall we go in? He can't be in here, get him out. The owner of the restaurant shouted. Naruto's smile faltered. Hinata would do anything to have it return. Very politely she grabbed the owner's elbow and took him to one side. If you don't let us eat here, I shall advise my father. I am sure he will be very upset. Hinata whispers. Aghast with the mere suggestion of upsetting the head of the Hyuga clan, the owner smiles. Right this way. We have a table for two over here. Having seated Naruto and Hinata, the owner fills their glasses with cold water. Naruto's smile had returned. Look at that, Hinata-chan, he filled my glass. Hinata giggles shyly. Upon glancing over the menus, they order a few meals that they can both pick at. The meals came quickly. Naruto wasn't sure if it was because they wanted him out as quickly as possible or because the restaurant genuinely had very fast service. Either way, he didn't really care as he was extremely hungry after today's training. The first thing they had discussed over dinner was of course Hinata's victory over her cousin Neji. Hinata's description of events made the hairs on his back stand on end. Upon completing her story, Naruto responds, you have become so powerful, Hinata-chan. I mean, I thought you were great before. But now, even your father will give you the respect you deserve. Naruto's response was definitely the right one. Hinata had gone red from the embarrassing praise and smiled adoringly. It's all because of you, Naruto-kun. If it wasn't for your training and your, Hinata stops herself and goes a little red. Inner Hinata shouts, body, say it, body. Your confidence in me, I would never have come this far. Hinata finishes. Naruto places both hands on the back of his head and rocks back on his chair. Really? Naruto's arm suddenly was around like a windmill. Oh, no, falling, Hinata-chan, falling. Hinata jumps up and grabs hold of one of Naruto's whizzing arms. She pulls him back down to level ground. Naruto looks around at the obviously disgruntled diners. Sorry. Hinata snorts with laughter. Naruto throws his head back and laughs with her. Upon gathering herself, Hinata asks, so Naruto-kun, how was training? Naruto thinks back, well, I found out one of my clones has more talent than I do. But by the end of the day I had mastered cutting the leaf in two with my chakra. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to cut a waterfall in half. Naruto nods enthusiastically, gulping down the remainder of his food. Hinata nods, I must go and see that. Suddenly she realizes something. Hey, I never asked how you transformed your muscular structure. Oh, well, that's a long story. Naruto answers. Naruto then tells her the story, but it had brought back terribly painful memories, the tearing of each muscle, the incredible exhaustion. He had been careful not to mention the Kyuubi, but he did have to mention the red chakra. Hinata was covering her mouth in shocked surprise at the extreme lengths Naruto had gone to improve himself. Upon seeing Naruto begin to cry, she had leant over the table and wiped away his tears. Naruto gulps, forgetting what part of the story he was up to, for all he could see was Hinata's jiggling bosom in front of him. He looks lower and catches a glimpse of her soft nipples. Perhaps I should drop a fork. Naruto closes his eyes and shakes his head to clear away the perverted thoughts. What the hell is happening to me? Where was I up to? Naruto asks. The red chakra, Hinata asks, returning to her seat. Yes, well, I managed to merge this red chakra with my own blue chakra and hula, new muscles. But what? Hinata asks, not liking the dramatic pause. Well, as you know, my muscles are now pretty resilient. But the pervy sage was disappointed with the end result. He expected more, you see. A few weeks after, we were set upon by some ninja who had caught us entirely by surprise. The pervy sage was considerably drunk that night, and for a time we were managing to hold them back. Then suddenly something happened to me. It was like an awakening. What? Tell me, Naruto-kun. Hinata was grasping his hand across the table in excitement. The second effect kicked in. Hinata's frowned. There's more? Oh yes, my speed and strength had increased tenfold. I was like Super Naruto. Naruto was being very modest as he didn't want to seem boastful. Naruto laughs and waves it off as useless, but it happened so randomly. How often has it happened? Hinata asks curiously. Naruto rolls his eyes and sticks out his tongue in thought. Twice. Once when fighting the ninja. The only other time it happened was when I was fighting Sasuke. Hinata had so many more questions, but she needed to process all that she had heard first. Naruto then pipes up, "Hinata-chan, this date is great." Hinata smiles, "Yeah, I am having a great time too. You haven't even looked like getting dizzy." Hinata blushes, "Yeah." Naruto leans in, jumping to another subject, "I don't know if I said this before, as I was a bit out of it, but your new sexy jutsu is simply amazing. I nearly ripped your clothes off." Inner Hinata screams in delight, do it now."
Hinata became extremely flustered, I.
Naruto interrupts Hinata's feeble attempts to form a sentence, "Hey, so how's Kiba and Shino?" This was much easier to respond to. Taking a deep calming breath, they both have gotten a lot stronger. Though, she taps her fingers together despondently. "I think I hold them back a little." "No way, and especially not now." Naruto answers without thought. Hinata blushes some more, "So, what about this Sai, and how's Sakura?" She asks in turn, for it was only polite. Sai's a knob. All he does is talk about my penis, and Sakura, well, I think I am in trouble with her. Naruto answers a little saddened by his last remark. Inner Hinata cuts in, "We need to go talk to Sai." "What's the matter?" Hinata asks concerned. Naruto, wishing to brush the matter aside, attempts to dismiss his concern, "Oh, it's nothing really, she just left me a weird note." "What did it say? Perhaps I can help." Hinata wanted dearly to repay Naruto for his help. This was just a mere grain of sand, to what was a mountain, considering the things he had done for her throughout her life. "I can do better than that, I can show it to you." Naruto pulls out his froggy purse, and rummaging through it finds Sakura's gentle reminder. He passes it to Hinata. It was obvious from the torn creases that Naruto had been reading this note quite frequently. Naruto watches her intently. Hinata silently mouths the words. Inner Hinata, however, screams in fury, "3 kisses. Weird, huh? So what do the X's mean?" Naruto asks. Hinata hides her concern behind a rather feeble attempt at a smile. Feeling that her eyes may give her away, she attempts to avoid Naruto's gaze by looking out the window. She catches a glimpse of Kuji before someone pulls him back behind a wall. Hinata glares, trying to figure out who was around the corner. "Excuse me, Naruto-kun, I just need to go freshen up." Hinata whispers gracefully. Naruto watches her as she goes to the girls' washroom. Her calf muscles were taut with the effort of walking in heeled shoes, and her dress left little to the imagination. If anything, it made his imagination run wild. With Hinata gone, he could now hear people whispering about him. Their eyes were like daggers piercing him in the back. He kept his eyes fixed on the door, waiting for Hinata's return. With her with him, nothing else mattered. Hinata begins to reread the letter. That's weird, surely not. She decides to focus on what was going on outside. Well, at least one of our friends has seen us together. She smiles giddily with the thought. I wonder who was with him. Hinata activates her Byakugan and glances in the direction of where she saw Kuji. Hinata's girlish grin falters. She is here, they are all here. Taking a deep breath, Hinata turns to the door to return to Naruto. I can do this. Naruto-kun likes me, not Sakura. It was my bum which made him horny. Not Sakura's. With her confidence returning, she walks out the washroom door. I must show Sakura that Naruto-kun is mine, just in case. Suddenly Hinata's walk had much more sway, her skirt billowed and she didn't care what was shown. All that mattered was that Naruto saw, and his gaze was clearly fixated on her. Naruto still couldn't believe what she was wearing. She was so beautiful. And the sway of her hips seemed to hypnotize him. He wanted to reach out and run his hands up and down the entire length of her leg. Her eyes showed a particular fierceness to them now as well. He had only seen such determination during their training. Taking her seat opposite him, Hinata had very modestly taken off her stiletto and started tenderly rubbing along the inside of his leg. Whoa, Naruto attempts to catch the glass of water he had suddenly tipped over. Hinata giggles shyly and continues to run her foot up his leg. Naruto's eyes have trouble focusing. His penis had started reacting to Hinata's attention, and the higher she went, the harder his burgeoning erection became. Thankfully, the tablecloth provided ample coverage. Hinata was amazed at how high her foot was going. She never thought she would have the courage. Finally, her foot reaches its mark and she very lovingly rubs Naruto's penis with her toes. She could feel it harden. Her face turns very red. She avoids eye contact and takes a sip of water to cool her down. Hinata was getting extremely excited herself. She could feel the moistness gather in her G-string, and her nipples were beginning to harden. Pulling at her earlobes in embarrassment, she turns her gaze back to Naruto to see his facial expression. Naruto suddenly stands grasping his head in pain. "What is it, Naruto-kun? Did I do something wrong?" Hinata asks, concerned, her face going very crimson. Everyone in the restaurant was looking at Naruto in disgust. Naruto, fearing he was embarrassing Hinata, sits down and clenches his eyes shut in an attempt to control the pain. He then hears the Kyuubi's laughter. Naruto walks the corridors of his own mind, heading in the direction of the Kyuubi's cage. Suddenly he hears the echoes of someone shouting. It sounded very much like Ino. Naruto begins to run in the direction of her screams. The shrieking sound was echoing around him, sending goosebumps up and down his spine. Why is she here? Eventually he finds the source of the horrifying screams. It is Ino. Her skin was tearing away from her body. She was tearing at her ears. She must have used the mind transfer jutsu. Naruto runs up to her and places his arms around her, trying to shield her from what was obviously destroying her mind. He begs for her to release the jutsu. Naruto stops clenching his eyes and looks up. He looks around, trying to determine where he was. Seeing Hinata there, he breathes a deep sigh of relief. "I think we better go." Hinata nods and walks to Naruto's chair to help him to his feet. "What happened?" she whispers. Struggling to balance, Naruto answers, "I think Ino was inside my head. I had to get her out. Not enough room in there for another person." Naruto laughs at his small joke but stumbles. Naruto reaches for his froggy purse and throws some money on the counter. Hinata was too furious to think, let alone talk. Once outside, Naruto had collapsed into her arms, exhausted. Inner Hinata was holding two massively oversized katanas, each were emblazoned with Ino's and Sakura's names. Chapter 10, Aftermath. Sakura had quickly taken the unconscious Ino to hospital. She had done what she could for her eyes, but they still needed some work. What Sakura was more concerned about was her mental state. It must have been the nine tails. Without knowing it, she begins to rub the wound Naruto had left on her arm when fighting Orochimaru in his Kyuubi form. It still caused her pain every now and then. Suddenly, the hospital emergency doors had flown open as they admitted another patient. The bed was rushed into a second emergency room. Curiosity made her look. Blonde spiky hair, black suit, her heart skips a beat. Naruto. Sakura rushes to his side. Following close behind was Hinata. Upon seeing Sakura, her fury was clearly etched all over her body. Her muscles were taut, her fists clenched. She was ready for battle. Her eyes, normally gray and friendly, were bloodthirsty. "You!" Hinata screams in her fury. She runs at Sakura. Sakura stops. She doesn't even bother defending herself. The guilt washes over her and she sobs some more. "I am so." Hinata was too angry to hear anything she had to say. With all her might she slaps her across the face. Sakura is thrown against the wall, leaving a large crater upon impact. Sakura slides to the floor, huddling up in a ball to brace for more. Hinata starts crying in dismay. "Go fix him, Sakura." Inner Hinata, although very happy with how things were going thus far, was not so sure about this idea. She begins rummaging through her ointments. "We don't need her. I can heal him." She eventually stumbles upon a packet of pink band-aids and holds them up for all to see. Sakura was simply grateful for being able to rectify some of the mess she had created. Hinata grabs her arm and drags Sakura to her feet. In Naruto's room, a team of doctors were analyzing him. They look up and see the two women's concern. He seems to be okay. Sakura wipes away her tears. "I will be the judge of that, now get out." The team of doctors nod and leave the room. They were all well aware that she was Tsunade's student. Hinata moves to Naruto's left and clasps his hand. Sakura moves to the right. Very carefully she lowers Naruto's bed sheet so she can examine his upper body. Hinata watches her cautiously. Inner Hinata was swinging the katana with Sakura's name on it. "If you even look at him, hussy, I shall cut your head clean off." Sakura focuses her chakra around her hands, closes her eyes and delves her medical jutsu inside of Naruto's body. She runs her hands over his torso, examining his organs. Everything seems fine. She begins to concentrate on his chakra circulatory system. Sakura opens her eyes and breathes a sigh of relief. He will be fine. His chakra system is very drained, but knowing Naruto, he will up and running in no time. Hinata too takes a deep breath and, refusing to look at Sakura, decides to tell her what happened. "He told me that Ino was inside his head and that he had to get her out. But once outside, he collapsed. I thought he was asleep but I wasn't sure. I knew you were nearby, and I looked for you, but all I found was a lot of blood. So I carried him here." The deathly silence was an indication that it was Sakura's turn. I had Ino use her mind transfer jutsu. Sakura waits for Hinata to look at her but it wasn't forthcoming. Just as soon as she had started she began to scream. She tried to rip her own eyes out. Then I thought the screaming had stopped, but Ino had simply run herself hoarse. I tried everything, but I couldn't find what was wrong. Hinata closes her eyes, a single tear falls from each. "I want you to leave now." Inner Hinata begins practicing thrusting with her katana. "We'll get her in the back, good idea." Sakura nods and goes to pull the bed sheet back up to cover the sleeping Naruto. Hinata finally turns her fierce gaze back upon her and yells, "Don't touch him." Sakura lets go of the bed sheet, and steps out of the room. Naruto, on his back, spreads his legs out and gets more comfortable. Hinata covers her mouth, her stifled laughter stopping the tears from flowing. Hinata was emotionally exhausted but she was determined to be there when Naruto woke up. She slips out of her stilettos and pulls the bed sheet all the way back and climbs into bed with him. She lowers her head into the nook of his shoulder and drapes an arm over his chest. At around mid-morning, Hinata found herself facing the wall with Naruto's arm around her. They were spooning. She could hardly believe it. She could feel her hair move with Naruto's breathing. Hinata blushes. Underneath the covers, she gently moves her slitted dress aside. Her almost bare bottom was now firmly touching Naruto's groin area. She begins to experiment by moving her hips backwards and forwards. Naruto hardens. Hinata smiles, and covers her mouth in surprise. Having never felt so secure, she forcefully closes her eyes and pictures herself and Naruto-kun together at last. Her soft rhythm was causing Naruto's erection to grow between her legs. Without thought, she opens her legs to accommodate. She was now getting extremely turned on. Hinata bites her lower lip and moans Naruto suddenly sits bolt upright. Hinata was paralyzed with fear at being caught. Again she keeps her eyes shut and feigns sleep. Naruto awoke with a very strange feeling. He felt as though he needed to go to the toilet but it wasn't the usual busting feeling he was accustomed to. With the starry, moonlight night cascading through his hospital room window, Naruto had difficulty seeing but from his surroundings he knew exactly where he was, back in the darn hospital. Naruto says angrily. As he was about to get out of bed, he notices Hinata sleeping next to him. Naruto pats himself down to ensure he is not inappropriately clothed in hospital attire. "Phew," Naruto says quietly, and begins to very carefully slide himself out of bed so as to not disturb Hinata. She must have stayed with me all night. Inner Hinata had her eyes clenched in prayer and her fingers crossed. "Please, please, please." Placing his hand on her shoulder, Naruto was about to wake her, but he hesitates. Very gently he slides the covers off Hinata's body. Lower and lower. She wasn't moving. Still lower. He could now see her back, and the straps of her orange dress. Lower still. His hands were trembling, the bed sheet was shaking. Calm down. After staying in the exact same position for what seemed an eternity, Naruto's hand steadies, and he slides the cover off Hinata's entire body. Inner Hinata screams in crazed delight and jumps up. Bingo! Naruto stumbles backwards at the sight before his eyes. He attempts to balance himself by grabbing onto the bedside table. Hinata's underwear was wedged up her bum crack. For some reason it turned him on immensely. His throat had immediately gone dry and his brain was scrambled. Naruto gulps. Hinata, out of view, smiles cheekily. The training that she had gone through had definitely brought out her perverted side. Hinata rolls onto her back, revealing even more to the stumbling Naruto. Inner Hinata chuckles, "I am evil." Naruto's eyes glaze over. Hinata's tiny G-string left very little to the imagination. The surrounding flesh looked so soft, and so inviting. Her skin simply glistened in the moonlight. His knees begin to give way and he falls to the ground. He feared his heart would wake her, it was beating so loud and so fast it sounded like a herd of stampeding elephants. Naruto, in a panic, crawls to the bed, and pulling himself up, nervously grabs the bed sheet and pulls it back over Hinata, so much so that even her head was now covered. He looks left and right, out of the window and out his door, to ensure no one saw. His careful movements were now thrown to the wind. Naruto looks left and right again, not sure of what to do. He grabs a pen and paper from the bedside table and begins to scribble something down. "Dear Hinata-chan," Naruto begins to chew on the end of the pencil. You were like that when I woke up. Naruto nods, happy with the greeting and the first line. Naruto looks to Hinata with her head covered up. I was afraid to wake you. Naruto nods again, for it was the absolute truth. He looks at the curled up body beneath the sheet and, with his tongue sticking out in concentration, finishes off the letter and rereads it to make sure it's okay. Dear Hinata-chan. You were like that when I woke up. I was afraid to wake you. Thanks for staying with me, I really do appreciate it. Please know that I am okay. I will be training with Kakashi-sensei and Yamato today. We should do this again. Naruto. Naruto looks for a place where Hinata will find the note. He trips over one of her stilettos. Perfect. Finally he made it out of the room. Shutting the door behind him and leaning against it for support, Naruto takes a deep breath. His heart was beating so fast, he was concerned that it may break. That's it, it's official, I am more of a perv than pervy Sage and Kakashi-sensei combined. Walking silently along the dimly lit hospital corridors in order to make his escape, he notices a large circular crater on the side of the wall. He runs his fingers along the deep cracks. Weird. Whilst standing there, he catches a glimpse of the hospital room alongside. He squints and takes a closer look through the glass window. Wah? He opens the door, and there, sleeping in a visitor's chair, was Sakura, with her knees tucked up under her. Her elbow was wedged against the chair arm and the wall, and her head was resting against the palm of her hand. Her face looked all squished up and her eyes were all red and puffy. Something else wasn't right, her face looked a bit too distorted. Naruto squints and takes a closer look. The side of Sakura's face was all bruised. Naruto makes a sour face. Finding a spare blanket, he covers her up. He was off two minds as to whether he too should cover up her head. Naruto then takes a closer look at the person in the bed. Ino. Naruto shouts, not being able to maintain his silence. He covers his mouth, quickly trying to muffle his outburst. Luckily it had not woken Sakura. Naruto rubs his forehead roughly, for he had a huge headache. What the hell is going on? Author's note, extracts from manga 319 to 330 with slight modification. After changing and meeting up with Kakashi, Naruto found himself on a rocky outcropping with a number of his topless shadow clones trying to split a waterfall in two. Each of them was drenched with water. Damn it, the water is not even splitting. Naruto says to himself despondently. He shouts to get his sensei's attention, Kakashi-sensei. Kakashi stops reading his book and loops up. Naruto continues, don't I need more clones than this? He had only created 10 or so. You're supposed to be learning how to manipulate large amounts of chakra to be wind-natured. If you use too many, you'll end up using less chakra per clone. Then teach me how to do it better. Naruto shouts back. You're releasing the chakra too quickly. Take your time and get it under control first. Yamato, sitting on the ground next to Kakashi in a meditation-like pose, interrupts, I think I may have an idea. He makes the necessary hand signs. Suddenly Naruto gets drenched in water and nearly stumbles off the walkway. He turns around to see that the width of the waterfall had increased 20-fold. Yamato falls to his hands and knees. Kakashi rubs the back of his neck. That was pretty tough, huh? Yamato responds, no, I'm totally fine. Though he was clearly having difficulty catching his breath. Kakashi shouts back to Naruto, there, happy now? Naruto laughs, hee, mass shadow clone jutsu. A few hours later, Naruto shouts, I have cut the waterfall. A number of Naruto clones jump up in excitement, some hug each other, and others simply look boastful. I really did it. Kakashi was impressed, now we can begin the final stage of his original new jutsu. He whispers to himself. All the shadow clones instantaneously release the jutsu. Naruto's eyes widen as he begins to take in all their knowledge and experience. He collapses to his knees and coughs weakly. Unable to hold himself up, he falls to the ground. Kakashi races to him, but he was beaten by someone else. Sakura, what are you doing here? Kakashi asks. His former student was leaning over Naruto, rubbing his back. Are you okay, Naruto? Sakura asks, concerned, ignoring Kakashi's question. She turns her head to Kakashi-sensei, and glares at him like a woman scorned, you're overdoing it. Naruto gurgles, I'm so hungry. Kakashi smiles from behind his mask, you really are quite the guy, Naruto. Sakura, however, was still worried, I'll take him out for lunch. I need to tell him of his new mission. Kakashi nods, Tsunade had mentioned something about it earlier. Naruto, holding a chopstick in each hand, was drooling in ecstasy from the smell emanating from his favorite noodle dish. Usually flustered at having Sakura join him, today he didn't care. He just needed food, and he needed it fast. Sakura coughs trying to get Naruto's attention. Naruto turns to her with his mouth full of ramen noodles. Putting a hand to her mouth, she stifles a laugh. The look on Naruto's face told her that he was listening. Sakura begins, well, it seems Lord Hiyashi has requested your services. Naruto's eyes light up in surprise, but he continues inhaling his food. To go on, Sakura avoids making eye contact for fear of blurting out her true feelings. After you finish training with Kakashi, each member of the Hyuga clan is to observe you to see if they can see your chakra flow. Like Hinata-chan. Naruto says with his mouth full. He was trying to let Sakura know that he was paying attention. Sakura growled at hearing that floozy's name. She was still very jealous of the fact that Hinata had stayed the night in Naruto's room. She inadvertently rubs her now healed cheek. She had left it most of the night as a small reminder of her disgraceful actions of the previous evening. Inner Sakura was sitting in a corner with her head between her knees, deathly silent. Sakura nods unsteadily, her feelings were starting to get the better of her. I am to act as a minder during these visitations to ensure no physical activity takes place. Oh man. Naruto sighs. You have to work with them for at least an hour. Sakura pauses in mid-sentence. But the fifth Hokage has left it up to me to decide when to call it a day, being a medical ninja and all. Sakura goes very crimson with the lie and eats some of her lunch. Inner Sakura lifts her head and smiles gratefully. Naruto nods, that sounds okay, and the way I am going, I will have this training done in no time. Believe it. Naruto really wanted to ask her about Ino as he had been worrying about her all morning. But he keeps it to himself for now, it was a question for another time. Naruto gets up, I better get back to training. Thanks for taking me to lunch, Sakura-chan, and I guess I will see you tonight. Sakura holds up her hand, wait. She wanted dearly to spend some more time with him to tell him how she felt. Her shoulders slump, Naruto had already gone. Author's note, extracts from manga 319 to 330 with slight modification. In returning to Kakashi and Yamato, Naruto notices the large number of people gathering in the forest. From their attire and their eye coloring, Naruto knew that these were members of the Hyuga clan. They were watching him intently. He approaches Kakashi, what's next? Kakashi, before we started this training, I told you one important piece of information about chakra manipulation now didn't I? Naruto's eyes brighten, that. And by that you mean you have forgotten, well we're moving on regardless. Kakashi responds casually. Naruto laughs and scratches the back of his neck apologetically. One more type of chakra manipulation, the ability to alter the shape of chakra. I explained with Chidori now didn't I? You don't just change chakra into lightning with that jutsu. You decide the power and the range of the attack by altering the chakra as you release the lightning. Kakashi holds up his hand and demonstrates the Chidori. Yamato continues from where Kakashi left off, by adding not only nature manipulation but form manipulation to chakra, a ninja's attack ability will improve in leaps and bounds. It's very rare for a person to be able to use the manipulation of both nature and form as a set. Kakashi cuts in, the training up until now has been to get you to use wind manipulation, and now you have gained that ability. This means it's a little different from Chidori or Rasengan. These are just jutsu that deal with form manipulation. Naruto gradually begins to grasp the concept, so I can already do both things, huh? That's what you're saying? Kakashi answers, well, yep, that about sums it up. Naruto shouts in excitement, yeah. I guess I'll be able to whip up a new jutsu in no time at all. Oh man, this seems so easy to do. Kakashi bursts Naruto's balloon, oh yeah? If that's true then there wasn't much point in my inventing Chidori, eh? Naruto looks on puzzled. Kakashi holds his wrist out, there is something I wanted to show you. Kakashi begins to focus his chakra in his hand, Rasengan. Naruto nearly swallows his tongue in surprise, Kakashi-sensei, you could do Rasengan all along? But only up to here. I couldn't get my lightning chakra to fuse with the Rasengan. It takes a tremendous amount of skill to fuse nature manipulation with form manipulation. Or rather it would be better if I said it requires kind of a knack or special ability. It's not only me who could only take it this far. My teacher, the guy who thought up this jutsu, couldn't either. It suddenly dawns upon Naruto who Kakashi was talking about. That's right, Kakashi responds, seeing the realization on Naruto's face. Even the fourth couldn't do it. The fourth took form manipulation to the highest possible level. With the Rasengan, the fourth created it with the intention of adding his own nature-manipulated chakra. Naruto interrupts, so you mean to say that the Rasengan was only a half-complete jutsu? Yamato answers on Kakashi's behalf, that's about right. Do you know why I'm telling you this, Naruto? Naruto shakes his head. I can't teach you from here on in. Your only option is to discover it for yourself. I believe that the ninja who will surpass Yondaime Hokage is you. Kakashi finishes. Naruto makes the hand sign for the shadow clone jutsu and faces Kakashi with a look of sheer determination. By the time Naruto had returned from lunch, Lord Hiyashi had stationed a great many of his clan in the surrounding forest. From the trees he waited patiently for Kakashi's training to end so he could begin trying to find other clan members like his eldest daughter. Naruto's innate ability to hide his chakra circulatory system could prove devastating to their gentle fist-style technique and to the Byakugan. But Hinata had proved there was a way around that, and that path could take their bloodline limit to another level entirely. Suddenly, the boy could be heard making his trademark shadow clone jutsu. Hiyashi had seen it performed once before in the Chunin exams against Neji. All the Hyugas were watching intently. Within a blink of an eye there were thousands of shadow clones. Lord Hiyashi toppled backwards out of the tree and lands on his head. His kimono had unflatteringly revealed his undergarments. The members of the Hyuga clan present were too awestruck by the sheer number of clones to even notice. Hinata couldn't stop smiling. Last night's date was a dream come true, and sleeping with Naruto made her heart soar. Hinata was so happy. Her life seemed to just be getting better and better now that Naruto had noticed her. After Naruto had left, she had quickly pulled back the covers and fished out the note from her stiletto. She waited until she was back in bed before reading it. She laughed and had clasped it to her chest and fell asleep with a smile that could have split her face in two. It was a very intimate reminder of what had played out in this bed this very night. Hinata hadn't woken until mid-morning, and she had immediately set off home to clean herself up. She was a bit scared as she would have to explain her absence to her father, that's if Neji hadn't already done so. Reaching her front door, she attempts to open it but it was locked. Hinata fumbles for her key and unlocks the door. Stepping inside she notices something amiss. The house was always buzzing with activity this time of day. Where is everyone? All of Naruto's shadow clones were exhausted. Only a few were able to remain standing. Naruto was holding the Rasengan in the palm of his hand. I must be able to insert wind chakra into this. He was sweating profusely. Naruto loses control. 30 of his shadow clones are blown backwards with the force of the explosion. Out of the smoky fog, the real Naruto stands. This is impossible. I mean, the amount of concentration needed to just make the Rasengan is already extremely high. But to add elemental recomposition to that is like being told to look left and right at the same time. Damn it. Naruto's eyes begin to change as he forms another Rasengan. Concentrate. Try to rub the two chakra together. The demon cloak suddenly begins to surround Naruto, and four tails spring to life. Naruto was changing. Kakashi and Yamato spring into action. Yamato suppresses the nine tails chakra with his wood element jutsu. If you continue doing this, Naruto will. He pauses and changes the direction of his sentence. It's not like I can stop that thing every time. Kakashi holds his ground. No. This is the only option we have. Whether or not Naruto will be able to perfect this jutsu rests on your shoulders. Yamato nods, understood. Let's call it a night. Kakashi turns and shouts into the forest, Lord Hiyashi, he's all yours. Lord Hiyashi and Sakura approach the befallen Naruto. Sakura had been watching Naruto all day in amazement. First the waterfall, where she was too concerned for his well-being to stay hidden, and now this. His stamina was incredible. A number of Hyuga clan members joined them, circling around Naruto. They were all speechless and simply gaped at the boy before them. Lord Hiyashi too was beyond shock. He wanted to touch the boy, to see if he was real. Sakura slaps his hand, we might as well get started. Whilst he is lying out in the open like this, we should be able to get a great many of your clan done. Hiyashi turns to her, this is not exactly how I pictured it. Sakura ignores him, get started. She looks at her watch. You have him for a few hours. Hiyashi argues further, it's up to the boy when we finish. Sakura glares at him, change of plans. Lord Hiyashi sighs in resignation, and signals for his clan to begin. Sounds of Byakugan filled the forest. Hyuga clan members began circling Naruto attempting to see his chakra flow. They stared at him for minutes on end, some even resorting to getting on their hands and knees and bringing themselves to within an inch of Naruto's body. Some of the young female clan members were getting a bit grabby, and were smiling a bit too much for Sakura's liking. She was beginning to get very jealous. Suddenly some of the members were starting to flip Naruto onto his stomach and back again. Like he was a piece of meat. Sakura couldn't take it. Out of the way, out of the way. She bustles her way through. They look up wondering what the commotion is about. Hiyashi, supervising the proceedings, speaks up, "What's the matter?" Sakura answers, "No physical activity." She holds up one finger reminding him of the fifth conditions. "But we need to look everywhere to ensure we are not missing anything. Even a flicker will be a tremendous breakthrough. This would be much easier if he were awake." Hiyashi pleads. Sakura pauses for a moment thinking, "I have an idea." She kneels next to Naruto and lovingly lifts him to a seated position. With her hand supporting his back, she then begins to unzip his jacket. Her hand was trembling with sexual excitement. "What are you doing?" Hiyashi asks frowning. The surrounding females were not arguing, they were staring intently waiting for the finale. Sakura goes crimson. Naruto mentioned that being shirtless had helped Hinata. She wasn't doing this for the Hyuga clan's sake. She just couldn't take it anymore. Her jealousy had overridden her common sense. She had to see. Inner Sakura was bristling with excitement and rubbing her hands together, RIPIT off. Placing a hand on his chest, she very tenderly slumps Naruto forward. She then shuffles herself behind him and slides both of Naruto's arms gracefully out of his jacket. Sakura was oblivious to the world around her. It was just her and Naruto. From behind, she begins to untuck his shirt. Reaching her hands in front, she lays her head against his muscular back and takes a deep breath. She grasps the front of his shirt and tugs. Moving back into the kneeling position, she takes the sides of Naruto's shirt and begins to lift it off. She couldn't help but stare at his back. His muscles rippled with each slight movement. Having taken the shirt up as far as it would go, she begins to tenderly feed one arm through, then the other. Taking another deep calming breath, she begins to slide the shirt over his head. Sakura holds the removed shirt to her bosom and topples backward, falling onto her behind. Sakura swallows the saliva that had collected in her throat, and begins to notice the female Hyugas staring at her, their knees trembling. They looked so jealous. Inner Sakura looked like she was busting to go to the toilet. Woohoo! That was so awesome, that was so great. Let's do his pants. She leans in ready to follow through. Hiyashi interrupts completely unaware of what was happening. "Okay, it's nearly midnight and we still have a lot of my clan to get through." All of the present female clan members rush to surround Naruto. My turn, they all shout in unison, nearly jumping over one another to get to him. "No touching." Sakura and Inner Sakura shout in unison. After Sakura had called it a night, Lord Hiyashi had returned home with the rest of his clan in tow. The night had been unsuccessful. Even with his shirt off, not a single person could see Naruto's chakra system. Lord Hiyashi himself had spent over an hour sitting within a foot of the slumped over Naruto. Morale had indeed dropped significant after that, for if their strongest member could not see, what chance were they to have? Sakura kneels next to Naruto and, laying a hand on his back, gently places him down into a sleeping position. "He must really be exhausted," Sakura says laughingly. She begins to run her two fingers over Naruto's lips. Inner Sakura was salivating. Sakura closes her eyes and leans in. She tenderly kisses him, her tongue tracing the contours of Naruto's lips. After a while she returns back to her kneeling position and licks her own lips, savoring the taste. Taking a deep breath, she opens her eyes. Naruto, although still asleep, had his lips puckered and was making kissing noises. Sakura laughs gently. She whispers, "I love you, Naruto." With Naruto now on his back, spread-eagled, Sakura takes up a position next to him, placing her head in the nook of his shoulder and draping an arm around his bare chest. Not comfortable, she then slides her leg over Naruto's, and closes her eyes. It was time to get some rest, for she was so very tired, and she couldn't think of a place she would rather be. Having discovered last night that her father had organized some time with her Naruto, she thought it best to give them some space. She didn't want to be a hindrance. The next morning Hinata awoke, and after quickly getting dressed in her ninja attire, had joined her family at the breakfast table. She was very curious after all. "So, father?" Hinata asks. Hiyashi looks up. How did it go, with Naruto-kun?" Hinata asks, though her voice was very quiet. Hiyashi frowns for a moment, remembering just how impressive the boy was. He had thought Neji was a true genius, but this Naruto, he had something more. Hiyashi, after a long silence, decides to answer, the boy was asleep the entire night. Hinata stifles a laugh. She knew Naruto would practically train himself to exhaustion. It was half the reason she had decided to stay home. But with most of the clan present, we still attempted to locate his chakra circulatory system. It proved futile. Hiyashi puts his chopsticks down, turning serious for a moment. Not one of us could duplicate your success, Hinata. I thought Hanabi might have seen something. Inner Hinata shakes her fist and screams in outrage, what a pervert. Hiyashi continues, but I was mistaken, is there anything you can suggest we try tonight? Inner Hinata settles down, lucky. Hinata coughs to clear her throat, her father had never asked for her opinion on anything. I am not sure. Perhaps, Hinata turns very red, but her father was sure to find out eventually. Perhaps, you can, have Naruto-kun take his shirt off. Hiyashi comments offhandedly, Sakura did that. It didn't help. Hinata stands bolt upright and gasps in shock, covering her mouth with both hands. Inner Hinata, on her hands and knees, had already begun looking for her oversized katana. It's here somewhere. No one told me that Sakura would be there. Hinata manages to get out. Hiyashi, ignoring Hinata's obvious surprise, goes back to eating his breakfast. Yeah, the fifth Hokage thought it best that Naruto had a minder. Inner Hinata, sharpening the katana, looks up, don't worry, it'll be ready. Hiyashi looks back up, is there anything else? Hinata ignores her father's question, and gathering her wits, sprints to the front door. Finally reaching the forest clearing where Naruto was training, she slows her pace and tries to catch her breath. She had got here as fast as she could. Byakugan. Chakra begins to flow to her eyes, enhancing her vision. She could see everything. On her way here, she had eventually come to her senses and activated her bloodline limit to see if Sakura was around, but all she could see were the hundreds of shadow clones. He had already started training. Each of his clones were focusing large amounts of chakra into their hand. Naruto-kun is amazing. His focus, it's incredible. She watches from a distance, and suddenly, Hinata begins to see an intense flood of red chakra circulate around Naruto's entire body. Hinata gasps, it's leaking out of him. The shock had deactivated her Byakugan. Hinata moves a little closer to get a better look. She nearly stumbles back. One of the Naruto shadow clone's skin was bubbling with the red chakra. His eyes had changed, they were red, with snake-like pupils. She was about to run out to save him, but then she heard Naruto speak, hey! Watch it guys. There's more of us losing control to the Nine Tails. Captain Yamato help. The clone she was watching then had suddenly screamed in incredible pain. He had sprouted 2 chakra-shaped tails, and ears. Red chakra was spilling out of him, ripping large gashes out of the grassy surface, and destroying a great deal of the surrounding clones. Hinata had stumbled back. She couldn't go any further as her back was against a tree. Her heart was racing, she had never been so frightened in her life. The red chakra felt so evil, so incredibly wrong. It did not belong to this world. Out of nowhere, a wooden prison pins the transforming Naruto shadow clone, and each and every shadow clone explodes in a cloud of smoke. Hinata faints and topples to the ground. Kakashi jumps to Naruto's aid, you okay? Naruto sits up dripping with sweat. The Rasengan takes up so much focus just by itself. And trying to do nature manipulation at the same time, and all I can manage is 200 shadow clones, and even that's not enough, it's too hard. Kakashi attempts to strengthen his resolve, this is rare. When did you turn into such a whiner? Naruto dips his head in shame, it's impossible. It's like if you're looking to the right and someone tells you to look to the left. Can you do both at the same time? Naruto then clicks, that's it. It's how I learned the Rasengan. Naruto creates 3 shadow clones. The one in the middle creates the Rasengan in the palm of his hand. The other 2 shield it and attempt to merge it with wind manipulation. Yes, I think I'm getting it. Kakashi and Yamato look on in complete astonishment. Naruto could feel the power building, but the power focusing in his hand wasn't the other thing he felt. Something inside him had changed as well. It was like a dam had burst and was flooding him with wave upon wave of chakra. It seemed endless. The experience he had gained from his recently dispersed shadow clones was beginning to meld into his mind, 4,800 hours of intense training reduced to half a day. He was beginning to understand the nuances of wind manipulation, how to focus it, how to sharpen it. He began to realize how he could use it as a shield or as a weapon, in defense and in attack. I gotta say, I really like you now. Kakashi shouts. Naruto's focus is shattered and he loses control. His clones, as well as himself, are blown backwards with the force of the expanding chakra. Wah! By dinner time, Naruto was grinning from ear to ear. He couldn't stop smiling for he had nearly mastered his new jutsu. Walking back to town with both his hands clasped behind his head in satisfaction, he stumbles across the fallen form of Hinata. Hinata-chan? Naruto asks bewildered. He falls to one knee and shakes her awake. Hinata-chan? Woozily, Hinata comes to. Naruto-kun, what time is it? Naruto smiles, licking his lips. Dinner time. Naruto looks back down to Hinata and offers her his hand. Wanna get a bite to eat? Hinata blushes and gently places her hand in his. That would be nice. Heading back to town, Hinata gathers up her courage. Naruto-kun, she had so many questions, but there was one that was troubling her the most. What happened last night? Naruto tries to remember. Do you mean, during our date? Hinata blushes. I wanna know that too, but last night. Naruto squints, trying to access the memory portion of his brain. I can't remember exactly. I think I passed out. I remember seeing Kakashi-sensei's ugly mug this morning. Hey, I haven't told you, I cut the waterfall in two with my chakra. And today? Hinata interrupts shyly, do you remember seeing Sakura? Naruto stops his story short and tries and remember more of yesterday. I saw her during lunch. That reminds me, we had a mission that night with Lord Hiyashi. Is that what you want to hear about? Hinata looks down dejectedly. She obviously wasn't going to get anything out of Naruto. I am sorry, Hinata-chan. Naruto felt terrible seeing the disappointment in Hinata's expression. Oh, no, Hinata blushes. It's my fault, I was just thinking of something else. Hinata stutters, trying to regain her thoughts. Having finally made it into town, Naruto stares up at the carvings of the Hokage's faces. I am going to have my face up there one day, Hinata-chan, believe it. Hinata smiles and her heart beats a little faster. I believe it, Naruto-kun. Seeing some familiar faces, Naruto shouts, hey! Shikamaru, Kuji. He waves to get their attention, and walks up to them. Shikamaru peers past him to Hinata. I thought you knew better, Naruto. Naruto frowns. What do you mean? Hinata had shyly followed Naruto and had hidden herself from view. The only thought going through her mind being that off-the-foot incident at the restaurant. They would have seen the entire thing. Very shyly, Hinata waves at her fellow friends. Hey Shikamaru, Kuji. Not realizing why there was this uncomfortable silence, Naruto asks, how's Ino? I saw her in the hospital the other day. Kuji stops eating and very glumly responds, we don't know what happened. And the doctors don't know what's wrong with her, even Sakura can't seem to heal her. Naruto jumps in, Sakura-chan will fix her. Believe it. Shikamaru adds, Sakura has practically been by Ino's bed the whole time. Though, she hasn't told us what happened. Naruto frowns in concern. Sakura-chan was involved? Shikamaru ignores the question and quizzes Naruto. Maybe you can shed some light? Naruto taps his lip. Well, I was having dinner with Hinata-chan. He looks for Hinata. Where did she go? Naruto lifts his arm and peeking underneath his armpit finds Hinata hiding behind him. What are you doing hiding back there? Naruto grabs her hand and pulls her around so she is in full view. Eek! Hinata screams. She composes herself and begins tapping her fingers together. We were on a date. Naruto grins proudly, winking at Shikamaru. Shikamaru smirks. Naruto continues and scratches the back of his head. I remember my head hurting, and, Ino screaming. Then well, I can't seem to remember much after that. Naruto had lied. The vision of Hinata would be burnt into his brain forever. The very thought of it, still made his muscles knot up and his hands tremble. Shikamaru realizes what must have happened, that makes sense. I wonder what went wrong with her mind transfer jutsu? Naruto, his eyes downcast, guiltily responds, it must be my fault. Hinata jumps in, tapping his shoulder to get his attention. No, Naruto-kun, it's not your fault. She stares at Shikamaru. They both share a moment of understanding. Kuji asks, whose fault was it? He goes back to munching his chips. Naruto. Someone shouts, trying to get his attention. All four of them turn in the direction of the noise. Speak of the devil. Shikamaru whispers. Sakura-chan. Naruto shouts back, genuinely excited to see her and obviously not hearing Shikamaru's comment. Sakura misses a step upon seeing Hinata. She gathers herself and, ignoring the others, focuses on Naruto. Naruto, I need to speak with you about something. Sure, what is it? Naruto asks. Before Sakura has a chance to speak, Hinata had grabbed her arm rather tightly and taken her to one side. What are you doing? Hinata whispers. Sakura whispers back, tears in her eyes, I'm going to tell Naruto that I love him. You can't do that. He loves me. Hinata says defiantly, trying to stifle back her own tears. She was afraid of this but had been an ignorant fool. First the letter, and last night. Having Ino try and take over Naruto's mind, had been the last straw. Sakura had definitely wanted Naruto to end it with her. Inner Sakura falls to her knees and, with her arms outstretched, screams to the heavens above, no. Sakura was speechless. He actually said that? It was Hinata's turn to be lost for words. Well, not exactly. Sakura's confidence was returning. Then how do you know? Hinata looks in the direction of Naruto. He was leaning forward, obviously trying to eavesdrop on the conversation. His facial expression was one of complete incomprehension and utter curiosity. Shikamaru was standing next to him with his arms folded. Kuji was offering Naruto some chips. He kissed me. Hinata answers reluctantly. That means nothing. Sakura responds a little too quickly. Hinata was furious. Naruto kissing me means everything. In her fury, Hinata could not maintain her silence. When he touches my bottom, his penis gets big. Immediately she had covered her mouth with her hands, fearing more outbursts would escape. Her face had turned crimson, and was getting redder by the second. Inner Sakura falls to her knees again and, with her arms outstretched, screams to the heavens above, no. Sakura goes red with jealousy. She turns her heated gaze upon Naruto. Oh, Naruto stops trying to listen. He knew that look. He looks to his left and right to ensure Shikamaru and Kuji were still next to him. Perhaps they could offer him some support. Shikamaru and Kuji had taken a cautionary step back. Naruto laughs and closes his eyes, trying to lighten the situation. It wasn't me, Sakura-chan. He was grasping at straws. Sakura turns her back to Naruto, and bends over. She then flips up her very short pink skirt, exposing her tight body, hugging shorts. Touch my bum, Naruto. Kuji starts to choke on some chips. He thumps his chest, trying to clear his airway. Shikamaru turns to him. How stupid do they think Naruto is? By mid-sentence, Shikamaru looks back to find that Naruto had walked up to Sakura and was kneading one of her bum cheeks. His tongue was out and he was giving it a very good feel. Hinata was mortified. Nart, you, too. Kun. I am, right, here. Inner Hinata had already fainted. Naruto couldn't hear Hinata for he was very busy. He had always wanted to touch Sakura's bum, and this would probably be the last chance he ever got. With her glorious arse sticking out at him, he could see the outline of what lied between. He was practically salivating. Deciding he better make the most of the situation, he uses his second hand to grab Sakura's other bum cheek. Kuji drops his bag of chips in astonishment. Shikamaru was shaking his head in disappointment. So much trouble. Naruto finally breaks the silence. Very nice, Sakura-chan, you must be training hard. Sakura was letting Naruto have his fill. She simply rocked back and forth with his vigorous attentions. Inner Sakura was hooting in delight. Touch the middle, touch the middle. Hinata looked like a ghost. Her mouth was attempting to form words, but nothing was coming out. She didn't know what was keeping her upright. Eventually Naruto had finished. He crosses his arms and, closing his eyes, smiles in extreme delight. That was great, Sakura-chan. Upon reopening his eyes, Naruto had found Sakura bending over in front of him, staring inches from his penis. She started poking him. Gazing down, Naruto asks curiously, "What are you doing, Sakura-chan?" Sakura straightens up. "Nothing, it didn't move, how is it possible?" She was mortified. Covering her eyes, Sakura began to howl in abject misery. She was too distraught to stay, so she turned and ran in the opposite direction. Hinata was holding a hand to her chest. She didn't know whether to cry, to slap him or to smile. She had never had her emotions so scrambled. Shikamaru was shaking his head in pure disbelief. Naruto, scratching his head, turns to Shikamaru and silently agrees with what his close friend had always said, women are troublesome. Thanks for watching, see you in part 3.